2015 for what we purchased from a Queensland Labor minister. A Queensland Labor minister made the recommendation to us. What is also vitally important is the minister, myself, at that time was not involved in negotiations of price or of vendor. That is done by the department at arm's length to me. My role was to make sure that within the construct of the policy that we purchased it basically as the policy wanted, between Toowoomba and the Queensland border. My role was never to actually select a purchaser or to determine a price. And I think this is so important because what the Labor Party are doing is another version of the Medi-Scare process, where they put up something that they know is not the truth. They know that it is mischievous, and they try to put it out there as a fact. I'm quite happy if people want to basically test the veracity of what I'm saying, to do so by whichever means they want. I'm absolutely confident that we have done absolutely nothing wrong.
Why did Greg Hunt reject the buyback 2 years before you?
You have to go to the start of this question.
Well, why did the former minister, Greg Hunt, reject the deal when the company offered it to the government 2 years before?
Both myself and the former minister would have taken advice from our departments. That is precisely what I took. I took advice from a department and I did not change that advice. I had confidence that what they had done had been a diligent and forensic process, and on their advice we went forward.
The Queensland Natural Resources Minister for Labor this morning has put out a statement saying, yes, they backed it, but at the end of the day, it is the Commonwealth's decision. If it's your decision, then why didn't you ask the question?
Well, you've just had confirmation by the Queensland Labor government that they backed the decision. And that in itself, and that ultimately is the inception of the decision. It requires all the states to come on board. The state government came forward with the proposition that that's where we should purchase the water from. And no one can blame us for following the Labor Party, the state Labor minister, the minister responsible for it, to follow his advice.
Well, the state government actually recommended that you buy both properties. Why did you only go to buy the rights?
Well, that's a decision for the department. I'm at arm's length to that. As I've said before, I'm not responsible for either the vendor nor the purchase. I'm responsible for the overall. I'm responsible
on its recommendation?
Because that in itself would call into question that I'd overridden it, and people would then be asking questions as to why I did.
Do you think too much money was paid?
Under the Westminster system, you actually are responsible.
And we certainly are, and that's why the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, as designed by the Australian Labor Party, is going forward. We're responsible for the overall architecture of the policy, and we've done precisely that.
A review into all water buybacks has been announced. Are you confident you're going to be cleared by the auditor-general?
Absolutely.
Absolutely?
Absolutely. 100%. No doubt in my mind.
Why wasn't an open tender process used?
Within the actual structure of the legislation, it also has strategic purchases. The Labor Party has made the biggest purchase, $303 million from Twynham Pastoral Company, an Argentinian company. They also purchased Terrail Station, which doesn't actually deliver water back into the river. And I'm looking forward to any further investigation asking the questions about those purchases as well. Vastly bigger than the current purchase.
Were they strategic or open tender?
Well, the issue that people will raise, no doubt, with all of them is, you can have one half dozen the other. I'm completely confident that we work within the legislation. I'm completely confident in the department, and I'm absolutely certain that this is just yet another Labor distraction to take away from the fact that they can't explain their own tax policy.
Have you heard from the Prime Minister or Michael McCormack about the way you responded yesterday?
No, I haven't, and I'm absolutely certain. The reason being, I listened to the Prime Minister this morning. He's on exactly the same page, that we are completely within the remit of the policy, and this is nothing more than a Labor Party distraction because of their own concerns that they can't explain their own tax policy. They can't explain to the Australian people where the money to pay for their promises is going to come from. I'll take one more question, and that's it.
In the future, it would be important for ministers, before they make a final decision, to look at where the money would be going to the beneficiaries would be.
Well, that was a decision that even the Labor Party didn't make. Remember, the Labor Party was the first party, and I listened to Tony Burke this morning on AM, and within 2 minutes he said there should have been further investigation as to where the money went after the purchase, and then he backtracked when they said, well, actually, you were the Minister Burke, you were the first person to buy water of Eastern Australian Agricultural Company. Did you look to where the money was going? And he said, no, he didn't. Thanks.
So speaking in Tamworth. Barnaby Joyce there speaking in Tamworth, defending his role in signing off on this $80 million water buyback deal in 2017 when he was Federal Water Minister and Deputy Prime Minister.